Do you want to make your Tarnished look like this? Yeah, I bet you do. Here's exactly where to get the Lamenter's Mask and Lamenting Visage in Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. The mask and visage are hidden inside the Lamenter's jail. Our journey there begins with making our way to Caro's hidden grave. The path here is simple, but you will encounter a few bosses that you'll need to fight or run past. The entry into Caro's hidden grave is through Jagged Peaks, which is accessible through the Dragon Pit. If you haven't been here yet, you'll find the pit by heading south from the Pillar Path waypoint in Graveside Plain. You'll be invaded by the ancient Dragon Men along the way. Once defeated, you'll find a cave opening that takes you into the Dragon Pit. At the end of the dungeon, you'll drop down to fight the Dragon Man again, and then you'll emerge into Jagged Peak. From the Dragon's Pit terminus, Site of Grace, you'll move east and then south from the lake along this path, eventually finding giant dragon remains and the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion, Site of Grace. Continue along the dragon to the southwest until it veers left. Instead of following the path, jump over the ledge to spot a field of red flowers. Follow the path of flowers west until the screen tells you that you've arrived in Caro's hidden grave. From here, follow the water northwest until you reach the Caro's hidden grave, Site of Grace. Rest there, then continue to the northwest through this Deathbird arena, either avoiding the boss or defeating it, it doesn't matter for what we're trying to accomplish, and then continue northwest through the water, which eventually becomes a dirt path, until you find a cave which houses Lamenter's jail. Okay, let's find us a Lamenter's Mask. In this guide, we're going to skip over most of the optional fights and items to be found and go right for the mask and lantern. From the Lamenter's jail, Site of Grace, continue down the tunnel until you spot a locked gate. Make a left to continue deeper down the tunnel. Skip the first opening on the right and enter the second to find the jail upper level key. Leave the room turning left to return to the locked gate, and then use the key to open it and go down the ladder behind. After descending the ladder, you'll enter a huge room with a bunch of routes to explore. Head north past the pot enemies that show up, jump up the stair-step cliffs on the right, and enter the doorway. Run straight through, and in the next room the floor will break out from underneath you, placing you on the level below. Exit that room through the doorway to the north, and make a right up the stairs. Ignore the first right, go up another flight of stairs, take the second right, and continue through the tunnel. Hug the left wall and mind the gap. You'll then find yourself in a big jar room. Fall down the path in front of you and head left towards the chest, killing any big jars in your way. Open this chest for the jail lower level key, then head left to climb back up the rubble to exit the room the way you came in. Hug the right wall, mind the gap again. Once you're back to the stairs, go down a staircase to your left to enter the door we ignored on the way in. Run inside and slash at the wall beside the torch to find that it was fake. Open the gate with your new jail lower level key. Inside the next room, grab the second item, which will be the Lamenting Visage weapon. Then head back out the way you came in, and now go all the way up the stairs. Enter the doorway at the top, through the next room, and you'll find yourself on a ledge. Drop down and use the lower jail key on the locked door on your right. Continue through the room, climb down the ladder, and once you're at the bottom, you'll see the boss door. Lamenter isn't an incredibly tough fight, especially when your Skardu level is maxed out at level 20. His lantern offers him a unique move where he'll disappear before reappearing with a bunch of copies of himself. Kill the copies until you find the correct one, and then continue to damage him. Again, we were overpowered for this fight, but even at lower levels, it felt relatively straightforward. Upon defeating Lamenter, you'll be rewarded with the whole reason that we're doing this, the Lamenter's Mask. Equipping Lamenter's Mask is not as straightforward as you might think. This is actually a tool, not a headpiece, that comes with one big restriction. You must unequip all armor pieces in order to use it. Weapons and talismans are fine, but your head, body, arms, and legs have got to go. Once you're shivering in the cold, add the Lamenter's mask to your quickbar and use it to watch the transformation unfold. Once transformed, you still won't be able to equip any armor, but your stats will increase a little bit while in Lamenter mode. In this form, you can run around and do all the normal things that a Tarnished can, except that when you use the mask in your quick slot, your head will become huge and you'll give enemies a huge bonk. It's not the most powerful attack, but it is funny. While we're transformed, let's take a look at Lamenting Visage. Unlike the mask, this is actually equipable as a weapon. The Visage is basically a lantern, and pressing the attack button it's assigned to will cause you to hold it out in front of your face, lighting the way. The Ash of War, Blindfold of Happiness, will temporarily make the user harder to see, which could be awesome for when you're trying to sneak past an enemy. Finally, when you're done being sad, you'll discover that taking the mask off isn't so easy. Pressing the quick slot item just makes you head bonk. Removing it from your bar of course does nothing, and fast traveling to Sites of Grace doesn't change anything either. We hate to say it, but you have to die. So, you can find yourself a Site of Grace near a cliff for easy respawning, chuck yourself off the edge, and then you'll respawn a normal Tarnished. That's everything you need to know about the Lamenter's Mask and Lamenting Visage. For more guides like these, make sure to head over to our Shadow of the Erdtree wiki over on IGN.com. And for everything else video games and more, stick with IGN.